Welcome to MILF,
I'm Courtney,
and I'm Jennifer.
and we are two moms into literary freedom. Hey, Jennifer. Damn it, I lost it because I wanted to do something, and then you started talking about sexual favors.
Sorry, I threw you off.
You know what? We're just gonna go with it. Before we hit record, we were just adjusting our mics, and it reminded we don't have to tell the specifics. You can use your imagination, but it reminded me that people keep asking, they're like, what's the name of your podcast? And I'm like, oh, it's MILF for books. They're like, what?
I always say
Like,
when they ask me, Mom's into literary freedom,
right. And so,
and then I add MILF for short.
yeah, that's a good idea. Because I was just at the John Lewis protest yesterday, and someone asked me, and I was like, damn it, I wish I had my card so I could just, here's a card so I don't have to say it out loud. But I was like, oh, it's MILF for books. And Blake was like, why don't you just say mom's into literary freedom? And I was like, oh, that's a good idea. And then one of my kids was like, what's a MILF?
Oh,
I don't know.
you know what? My son asked that too. And I'm like, Mom, M, into I, literary L, freedom,
Oh
F.
my God, that's so smart. I think mine are like, no, we know it's dirty, but
Yeah.
like, they're still pretty young that, and they have, well, the oldest has a phone, right?
Yeah.
And she still doesn't know a lot of things because like she doesn't want to look those things up. Eventually she'll figure it out. But I'm just like, see, like giving your kid a phone it isn't necessarily corrupting them.
No, no.
She's gonna figure it out. But for now, she's young enough that it's not on her radar. And she
Right.
reads banned books.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't talk about MILFs and banned books.
My kids know a lot. They have older sisters,
That's why.
so they hear a lot,
Mhm.
and then they hear a lot at school too. So I know that they have questions. Like my oldest was telling me that my son was asking her like things that she was like, "Oh my God!" But then she was like, "But I'm so glad that he felt comfortable
Yeah,
asking," you know?
that's so cool. Yeah, and that's awesome that because they have older siblings, they know things, right? But they also have someone that they can talk to. So
Right.
that's really cool. And
Yeah.
so my youngest will be in that boat, like, even though there's not as much of an age gap between my oldest and my youngest as your oldest and your youngest, but
Right.
still my youngest is going to be like, I know everything because
Right.
yeah, that's just
Yeah. Yeah.
especially in this house.
And it was something because he was like, "Where did you hear this?" She was like, "On the bus," you know.
Yeah,
So
the bus is, yep. The bus
it
is
wasn't on
where
his cell phone or in a book.
No, it's always the bus, guys. I'm gonna adjust my mic in case you hear any weird noises. But yeah, it's not books, it's not phones, it's the bus, which is why I know so many parents that are like, nope, my kids are not on the bus. I'm like, I get it, but
Right. Let's ban buses.
right, we'd be better off banning buses than books. Anyway, so that's our organic intro. I was gonna before you made that sexually explicit comment about your microphone. I was gonna open with Cankles.
Let's explain, right? You were like, you need to get close to the microphone. I'm like, if I get any closer, I'm gonna.
And I said, give the microphone some love. And yeah, that's when we were like, oh shit, are there any kids in our vicinity?
Oop.
No, I hear birds, but they're not distracting.
Can you hear them now? I feel like
Yeah,
I was like, can you hear them? And they weren't loud. And they were like, oh, you're gonna hear me. And they've
right.
gotten louder.
Yeah, they're not distracting. I think it's like a nice background, like ambiance. So
Okay.
yeah. Hmm.
Pretend you're out in, some exotic land.
Hmm. Yeah,
Wild
right.
birds everywhere.
Or you're being attacked by them, like in the Alfred Hitchcock movie Birds.
If you're afraid of birds, I'm sorry.
That reminds me. So it sort of connects. So speaking of birds, Alfred Hitchcock movie Birds, I was watching The Babysitters Club on Netflix, and one of the cute little characters went as the lady from Birds from the Alfred Hitchcock movie Birds. And I was like, what middle schooler would, for her Halloween dance, sorry.
Right.
And I was like, what middle schooler would have such a cool costume like that? And then
Right.
my daughter was like, me. Because they actually, Blake has gotten them into Alfred Hitchcock movies. And so
Okay.
they've just watched Birds, and she's like, I want that to be my costume. So I was like, okay.
And I loved that show. I watched it a couple of years ago with my daughter, and we
I
really liked it.
cry every episode. I'm
Yeah.
just a puddle.
Did they come out with the second season?
I think so. There's like so many episodes where we just
Okay.
started and we're like, oh my God, we have so many episodes to get through. Mom's gonna cry so much. Like we need like this morning I wake up and I'm like trying to get some work done. They're like, Mom, we have to watch Babysitter's Club. So I'm like, fine. And so the first thing I do today is just cry about
Oh,
the episode about the internment camp. Do you remember that one?
when she's talking about her grandmother,
Yeah.
I kind of remember. It was like I said a couple of years ago when it released is when I watched it.
Mhm.
So my mind isn't what it used to be. I remember like certain things. I
But you
do remember
remember the
the
grandma.
costume. Yeah, I love the grandmother.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think I don't remember who was the bird, but anyway, doesn't matter. Then I was like, oh, because my youngest was like, what's an internment camp? And I was like, oh, pause it. I think I have a book that will explain this. Love in the Library, which we covered. I don't have it. What?
Ah, you could borrow it. I'll let you borrow it.
Please, yeah. Because they now that they've seen it on the Babysitters Club, they want to know what the Japanese internment camps were. Now let's just pause here for a minute. There was no Babysitters Club. Do you think that she would want to know about Japanese internment camps?
Right.
No, she wouldn't. She'd be like, Mom, I'm busy. Because they're young. Their brains are like going all in different directions. But like Babysitters Club caught her attention because she loves the Babysitters Club. She reads all the books and she just found out there's a show. So she's just like obsessed. And so
Would be
now
considered woke.
it's so woke. It's the wokest show ever. Yeah,
It's
Netflix is
ridiculous
the best.
now.
Yeah. Netflix has She-Ra, which is super woke. Babysitter's Club. I don't know what else. There's other things that I remember thinking like I really like Netflix. Don't
Yeah.
see anything bad about Netflix because I
They have a show right now that's really popular. It's like a K-pop or a
oh yeah,
K-drama, The Demon Hunters or something.
yeah, K-pop Demon Hunters.
That's what it is. It's so good.
Really?
It's
We were
really
making fun of it. We were like, what are we gonna watch after She-Ra? And I was like, what about K-pop Demon Hunters? And they were like, that looks stupid, but I
that's what I thought too. And I was like, I kept seeing it, like clips of it, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch it. And like we're all hooked. It's a movie.
Hmm,
It's not a series, it's a
the
movie.
movie. Okay, whatever. I'm down. I'm gonna watch
It's
it.
really good.
Yeah, Netflix is winning for sure. You know who's not winning? CBS. Did you hear
Really.
about, did you hear about CBS?
I did not.
They are firing Stephen Colbert.
No.
Hmm. And they're claiming that it's because of financial issues and like no one watches the Late Show anymore. I'm like, no, I'm sorry.
A
The
pop.
Late Show,
Yeah.
the Late Show is like the most popular show on CBS, but it's because 2 days before this announcement, Stephen Colbert on the Late Show like ripped CBS a new one for taking like a $6 million bribe from, or sorry, giving a $6 million bribe to Donald Trump in relation to the Kamala Harris lawsuit.
Mm.
So to give the listeners some context, which by the way, go to YouTube, watch our episodes, rate, review, subscribe, please, all that jazz.
Please.
Um, but to give you guys some context, uh, CBS was sued by the Trump administration for allegedly like editing an interview with Kamala Harris that like made Trump look bad. I don't know what the details are. All I know is that CBS was quoted saying that this lawsuit has no merit. Yet they forked over $6 million to the Trump administration to make the lawsuit go away, essentially, right? I'm sure I'm missing some details there, but that's the gist of it. And it's because CBS is selling to this like Skydance parent company. And when big corporations like sell, you need permission or like you need the support or permission, I guess, from the Trump
Yeah.
administration because of like conglomerates and
Which is
stuff.
so weird.
Yeah, I don't know, stuff like that. And it's really like it's supposed to be for the good of the people, but it's not because it's
No.
but they're saying that that's not the reason. But that's if you watch the Stephen Colbert clip and you like he just rips CBS. And this is aired on CBS.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to look it up on TikTok and repost it so that other people can see it because
Hmm.
yeah.
It's crazy. So anyway, Netflix
Excuse
is
me.
good, CBS is bad.
So is ABC, I think, right?
I don't know. I
Aren't
can't
they
even.
they just fired the news anchor?
Yeah, for speaking out against Trump.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. This is like this is I don't know, stage whatever of authoritarianism is when the media starts to become silenced,
Right.
whether it's because, they're protecting their own assets or they're being forced to.
And
Um,
people who complained about fake news and all that other BS, look at them
mhm,
now. Do
right.
you not see, like now it's becoming fake news.
Hmm. Yeah, it's crazy. Um, I have like this whole list of things that we're supposed to talk about, and I don't think anything that we just talked about was on that list.
Hey, that's how it is.
Oh,
We're
we
just
were talking about actually no. I was gonna mention the protests and then the babysitter. That was actually on my list, so we're good.
tell me more about the protest because I didn't get to go. I was working.
Yeah,
I didn't have any details about it. How was it?
I know. It was kind of like a small one that not a lot of people knew about.
Okay.
But for a long time, my kids have been like, we want to go. And I'm like, okay, we'll go to the next one. This happened to just be the next one. And it was like John Lewis's Day of Remembrance. I think it was his birthday.
Okay.
So, they were like, who's John Lewis? So we talked about who John Lewis was and all that. And it was good. They made their own signs. And I didn't help them, which is like hard for me to do. But it actually wasn't that hard because they all had like super cute ideas and they were so enthusiastic about it. And like it was, uh pretty easy. No one cried. Like usually with art projects, it ends in tears, but I was
Right.
like, I put a picture up on our Mill for Books
Yeah, I
Instagram.
was gonna go find it now. Hold
Mhm.
on.
So the oldest, yeah, there it is. Yeah. And then go to the next one. You can,
Oh,
oh no,
hold on. What is that?
that's Coldplay. That's the Coldplay controversy. There it is. Yeah. So the one on the left, my son who's really into NoFX did it was a quote. And then my youngest did Brown Lives Matter because we initially she was like, I'm gonna do Black Lives Matter. And I was like, well, that's great. Black lives do matter. But right now, with everything that's going on, and we should change it. And she's like, okay, I want to change it to Brown Lives Matter because we had that conversation,
Yeah.
which was not hard, but it was hard because like I didn't know how she would react,
Right.
but they all took it pretty well.
Yeah.
And then my oldest, who's kind of the artist, she was like, oh, I'm gonna do ice melting because she's like figuring out what ice is.
Right.
And so hers was, I thought kidnapping was illegal, which is
I
like,
I like that one a lot
yeah.
too.
And I swear to God, I didn't help them with any of these. I didn't.
I loved them. They were great signs. I
Yeah.
love the art too. I was like, yeah, that sounds like her. Like that's her. Not you, but your daughter.
Yeah. No, that was her for sure. And
Yeah.
the secret to making a good protest sign are oil pastels.
Oh,
And you can get them for pretty cheap at like any arts and crafts store. They just like go on real smooth and you don't have, it takes like 5 minutes and it's
okay.
so easy to see. Or, like those poster pens, but oil
Yeah.
pastels, I don't know. I just like them better. So
And it doesn't smear after?
I mean, there was a little bit of smearage, but that's just because they're kids and they just aren't aware of what they're doing. But like, no, they're in the back of my car right now. We're going to use them for the next protest. So
Sweet. Okay, nice. I still have my protest sign in the back of my car too.
yeah, I was like, I'm gonna make a new one for every protest. But then after this one, I was like, these are really good. So
Yeah.
what's the point? And I even got Blake to come. I couldn't believe he said yes.
Yeah. I'm hoping Gus will go to one with me too eventually because
Yeah.
he's starting to wake up?
Blake too, he was just like, and he said it while we were sitting because cars go by really fast.
Yeah.
And I was a little, that's why I said no the past few times. But it's getting to the point where it's like, I can't say no.
Right.
And so I made them sit on this ledge that was like far away from the road. I was like, you are not allowed to leave this ledge. For safety, whatever. And then while we were sitting there, he was just like, it's pretty unbelievable that we are sitting here holding these signs. Like, so I think it's, people or men like that are like starting to wake up and he's doing a podcast now, mostly about punk music, but that stuff like that trickles into their conversation. So
Yeah.
mhm.
Were there cops present? I know when I went to the No Kings, it was a bigger one. So,
Mm-mm.
okay.
It was
Because
really small and there were
there.
no counter protesters.
Okay.
There
Yeah.
were some kids riding on their bikes, like middle school kids that were like being little dicks, and I feel bad because I harassed one of them. It was not a proud moment. Okay. He was wearing a Paw Patrol backpack and he was like flipping us off. And so I was like, oh, look at you. You're so big with your Paw Patrol backpack. And then Magnolia hit me. She was like, Mom, that's a kid. I'm like, yeah, but he's being a dick.
Sometimes you have to check them.
He was in middle school, okay? It's not
Wow.
like he was in elementary. He was like a 14-year-old with a Paw Patrol backpack. I think he was wearing it ironically,
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
but I felt, and it's not, I felt bad. I was like, Courtney, you're an adult. I did
Listen,
feel bad.
when I hear someone's being mean to my daughters, I'm like, all right, I'm 13 now too. Let's go.
It's like the mom on that movie, This Is 40, remember? And
Yes,
she
yes.
calls him like because he looks like Tom Petty. She's like, you look like Tom Petty. He was like a 12-year-old and he's got like big,
But yeah,
and then they end up dating, the daughter ends up dating him. He has to come on. I'm like, oh my God, that was me.
that's funny. Oh God, can you imagine in a year or two? She comes
And
up
then
with
later when we were having dinner, she's like, Mom, those kids go to my school. I was like, oh, don't
oops,
fall in love with them.
right? Oops.
Oh man. Yeah, that was not a proud moment. I'm not bragging.
No, no, I know.
Next time I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. But anyway,
And why are they doing that? You know, why are
yeah.
they driving around giving adults the finger?
Well, there were it was like a group of seven, and I think he was like the only one that was like stirring shit up. The rest of them were just like they gave this sign. You know
Oh,
what
okay.
this means?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The
Like I agree with you.
peace, right? Or
I think it
cool,
just means
cool vibes.
no, that's what it used to that's what it meant when we were kids, when we were cool teenagers. You know what it means now? Or maybe it's like maybe I'm doing it wrong. I think it's like this
The
instead
actual
of
sign language, right? I feel like this is actual sign language.
yeah. Okay. But the way that it's been described to me is that, and for people that are listening and not watching, we're doing the pinky and the thumb up and like the middle fingers down. And we're shaking our hand back and forth. Which, yeah, but I think it means like I agree with you or yes or okay or something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
one of them did that. Yeah.
All right.
And
So
then
those
another,
are the ones. She can date those.
yeah, exactly. Just not the one with the Paw Patrol backpack, which he
Right.
was wearing ironically. So I'm not a total monster. But anyway, um, so yeah, speaking of ICE, I saw some statistics that have been circulating around the web that I'm sure you have seen as well. But did you know that 65% so far? Because at the beginning of the year, there was no data. Now it's 7 months into this hellscape, and the good people out there fighting the fight have been collecting data and trying to, share, spread awareness of like the awfulness that's actually happening. 65% of roughly all the people that have been detained by ICE have no convictions.
Correct.
93% have no violent convictions.
Yep.
So either number you want to look at, which I had to think of, I was like, wait, how is that possible? But it's basically saying that like 93%, which is almost all, have
Right.
had no violent convictions, meaning like maybe a driving on a suspended license or stealing a loaf of bread if you want to, I don't know, stuff like that. Go
And
ahead.
blue sign points to that. Like alligator, Auschwitz, I'm not going to call it the other thing.
Right.
Um, the amount of money that is being spent to detain people that were working and paying taxes
Mm-hmm.
is far more than what we were paying for Medicaid or any other thing, services that these people thought these immigrants were using.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but now people are celebrating it. The same people that wanted them not to be on these assistance programs
Right.
are now celebrating the amount of money we're spending to keep them locked up.
Yeah.
And they're not criminals. They still talk about them like they're criminals. If you look at the White House propaganda machine that is Instagram, they're being loud, aren't they?
No, it's okay. But you know what I do notice is like the mic is getting confused, and when you're talking while the birds are chirping, your sound quality kind of goes down a little bit, but I can still hear you, and it's fine. It's fine.
I'm gonna have to boot them out of the house. I'm
No,
sorry.
it's okay. It's not that distracting. It's just like, oh, I noticed a difference, but
I
it's
can
okay.
do this. But
Oh,
yeah,
that is better.
they do need to realize like how much money is being spent to keep people who are not criminals locked up. Far more money than it was keeping them on any kind of government assistance, which they weren't on because these
Right.
were people paying taxes.
Exactly. Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
So I made my protest sign, which I gave to Blake, was
Okay.
feeding the hungry.
I was giving him credit. It was Courtney.
It was
Should
me. I made that one. Feeding the hungry, $6 a day. And then I crossed it off because that's what was eliminated with the quote, big, beautiful bill, right? And then underneath that, it said alligator Auschwitz, $1.2 million a day, because that's how, if you're going to compare the numbers, that's what it worked out to be.
Right.
And that was just SNAP assistance, right? So
Yeah.
that's exactly what you're saying.
And they're locking up children in there now.
Not to mention the 15-year-old who has since been relocated, but the fact that he got there just tells you that these so-called ICE agents who are not actually police officers or law enforcement officers of any kind don't even care if it's a minor. They're not checking if it's a minor. They don't care if it's a minor. They swooped up that 15-year-old just like he was a grown man and put him in a concentration camp.
Yeah.
He's now in a different concentration camp. Are we supposed to celebrate that he's in a different concentration camp? No.
Right. No.
We're not.
No.
And I don't even know where all these foster kids that they're forcing out of their homes, where they ended up. Do you? Because that's not something that I've seen. I'm sure it'll
not
come
telling
up
us
eventually.
they don't want people investigating this. They don't want people talking about it. It's like they just want to sweep everything under the rug. The Epstein files under the rug.
Oh,
they
yeah.
these
I never told you about the Cankles.
No.
Oh my God. How many minutes into this? And people listening are like, what about the Cankles? I mean, I don't know if anyone wants to hear about the Cankles, but I'm going to tell you about the Cankles. So you haven't seen this? Donald Trump sitting, like someone like zoomed in on a picture of him sitting in a chair in his like suit, right? With his shoes and socks and stuff. And then there's a bottle of Diet Coke next to his feet. And it looks like it's a miniature bottle of Diet Coke because of how swollen his ankles are.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, he has health issues, right? He definitely.
Let's pause for a minute though, because your mic is like, hold on. Okay, we did the best we could. It's honestly not that bad if they do start peeping again. It's okay. But anyway.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. No need to apologize for your little birdies. But what were we talking about?
We're talking about the 15-year-old. No, we're talking about Cankles.
Oh no, we were like, we got to talk about Cankles. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the same day that picture posted, like he was publicly diagnosed with essentially he was diagnosed with Cankles, like a poor circulation thing,
Okay.
I don't care what it's called. I forgot what it's called. I don't give a shit about his health. But either way, he has a condition that makes his ankles the size of a Diet Coke bottle.
Oh my God.
And that was like either the same day or the day before his love letter to Jeffrey Epstein was discovered. There's his Cankles. Yeah, there you go.
So they're a lot bigger than the bottle. Holy shit.
That actually might be a miniature bottle of Diet Coke, but still that they're a lot bigger than the bottle. So like his ankles are like this big. And those are ankles, like the size of a small tree trunk, But anyway,
like those shoes are gonna leave indents when he takes those off.
Yeah. It's a medical condition, and it's not going to kill him quickly, unfortunately, but it's still a medical condition. We can only hope. But that was the same day that his love letter to Jeffrey Epstein with the drawing of the naked lady. Did you hear about that?
I haven't been online, I guess, enough because I did not see that. I did see the clip that popped up of the cheating couple at the Coldplay concert.
Yeah, when you were showing my protest signs, that accidentally popped up because that was the next story that I posted. And I didn't post it because I give a shit about the Coldplay couple. I posted it because someone was using it to get people's attention to talk about ICE.
Oh, okay.
So
nice.
If anyone clicked on that, they're like, oh, I want to know about the Coldplay. Then they're actually getting a video about ICE.
Ah, okay. See, so I did see that story, but not the ICE one. But I get a lot of ICE stories pop up on my feed. I have not gotten the love letter. What does it say?
It basically, it's a birthday card. Like apparently everyone like wrote Jeffrey Epstein birthday cards or something. And it's like just a creepily written birthday card that's like, I don't remember exactly what it said, but it's like something about an enigma, and it basically implies that they have secrets between them. And then it's a drawing of a naked lady, and then when how he signs his signature and it's like crazy signature.
Yeah.
That's what he put that where her pubic hair would be, as if like that was her pubic hair. And this picture has not surfaced, but that's just someone described the picture, and so I
Oh,
have not
so
seen
there's
it.
no photo.
No, no,
Okay. I'm like
there's
trying to
no
look
photo.
now.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
no, don't try and look for it, because unless I don't know, unless we're wrong. Anyone listening to this, if you have the
Sure
picture,
that it exists.
what?
The letter, it's not for certain that it exists.
No, it is for certain that it exists. But for whatever reason, it hasn't been made public. I guess you could say because we haven't seen it, you could argue like, oh, we're not sure if it exists. But from what I read, it's like, no, it exists, but like it's someone who was like privy to this information was like sharing it. Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And he actually, so you know how he's on, I guess this is Truth Social, where he goes on these rants, right? So one of his most recent rants, if you want to read about it, is in regards to this picture. And it was the Wall Street Journal who said that they know that this picture exists. And so he freaked out and said that it was fake and the Wall Street Journal was lying. And that he's never drawn a picture in his life. Okay. So here he is lying through his teeth, because then the internet, thank you, internet, responded with, here are dozens of doodles that Donald Trump has made and sold at auctions over the years, because he is a doodler. Like, he loves to doodle, apparently. So he's a fucking liar. And
So I see here like the picture of his whatever you call it post. The Wall Street Journal printed a fake letter supposedly to Epstein. These are not my words, not the way I talk. Also, I don't draw pictures. I told Rupert Murdoch it was a scam and he shouldn't print this fake story. But he did, and now I'm going to sue his ass off and that of his third-rate newspaper. Thank you for your attention to this matter, DJT. Why does he always end his posts like that? Like it's a letter.
thank you for your attention to this matter. All right, I have a sketch for you. Are you ready? It
Go.
is in 2005. It was the Manhattan skyline, and he sold it at an auction in 2017. I'm trying to get it. Okay, so here is the sketch. Do you see it?
Yeah, it's actually not that bad for him. I
Yeah,
thought
I
it
think
was
he's like
worse.
I think he thinks he's a pretty good doodler.
I mean, it's not like whoa, breathtaking, but it's not horrible.
There, it's like a child with a
Yeah.
marker but you would say that child has artistic skill.
Yes. Like if my third grader, I don't have a third grader. If my third grader at the time,
Yeah, I'd be
but
like, "Damn."
I would be impressed.
Yeah. So that's one of just like dozens of sketches that have popped up because he said he's never drawn a picture in his life.
And I
But
feel like I've seen him doodle on things too. Am I just imagining that?
I think it's just his signature, because like that, I
Maybe
mean,
he wrote on the map and he drew the path of
the
the
hurricane, yeah,
yeah.
that came up too. Yeah. Yeah, he likes to doodle. But the point of this story is that it's just more evidence tying him in a nefarious way to Jeffrey Epstein. And that's why he freaked out, because he knows that the walls are closing in on him, and eventually it's going to come out, hopefully sooner rather than later, so that they actually have something to impeach him for.
Right.
Because now, you've got Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? Which I don't think you know about this,
No.
who is like fucking jumping off the Trump ship and is swimming over to the Democrats because of the
Oh, I
Epstein.
don't want her. I don't know. Stay over there, please.
Oh my God. Hold on, let me pause so that I get my information right. Okay, so I just pulled up the first article that I found from Newsweek yesterday. And I mean, I could just read you the headline. Donald Trump's biggest allies split with him over Jeffrey Epstein. So you've got Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, okay, who all I know is she's a piece of shit. I don't. Her name is like one that pops up, right? Do you know anything about her?
I do. She's the one that was cheating on her husband, I think, and that she was caught getting handsy with like her date at like a show, you
She
know?
wasn't not Moms for Liberty though. That was a different scandal.
Oh no, she's like a congresswoman. She's like the same as Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Okay, so different conservative sex scandal.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep up with them.
Yeah.
All the conservative sex scandals.
It wasn't like a huge sex scandal,
Mhm.
but for someone who talks about morality and all this
Yeah.
bullshit, suddenly you're like getting handsy and like grabbing boobs and stuff in a theater.
We're
Like
totally fine with grabbing boobs as long as it's consensual and you're not a fucking hypocrite. Just
right. Right.
I mean, at least I'm convinced.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Republican Representative Thomas Massey, and then Democratic Representative Ro Khanna are all forcing a vote in the House to release the complete files. I mean, that's it. That's it right there. That's it.
Okay, is that another vote? Because
This
didn't a
is
bunch
new.
of Republicans vote not to release the Epstein files that don't supposedly exist?
Yes,
It's
that happened. This is after. So I am anxiously awaiting to, to see how this comes out. So when contacted for comment, by the Newsweek, the Department of Justice told Newsweek no comment. Oh
it's
man. I mean,
the
this is
lot.
way more interesting than the Coldplay scandal, in my opinion.
Oh, of course, yeah. This is like huge. I mean, the Coldplay thing was a fun 5 second thing, but like he campaigned on like releasing these files.
Uh-huh.
Pat Bondi or whatever her name is said she had it on her desk.
Yep.
Now suddenly they don't exist.
Right.
And his followers suddenly are very silent.
Mhm.
Like they're like, yeah, we don't want to talk about it.
Yep.
And I'm like, what do you mean? Like you were dead set that Bill Clinton was on there
Yeah, I don't
and you
care.
wanted to release.
Yeah,
And we don't care if he's on there, he's on there. Do
I
what you
think
need
he's on
to
there.
do.
Yeah, for
He
sure.
might be for sure. Yeah. Like we don't care if he is on there, release it. Let's find out who's on there.
I don't care if Obama's on there. I mean, I would be really upset if Bernie Sanders was on
I'm
there.
disappointed. But like do what you
Mhm.
need to do.
Mhm.
He was there messing around with children, not young women, children.
Yeah.
We need to stop calling them young women.
They're children.
They're children. Then do what you need to do.
Did you hear about Katie Johnson?
No, was that?
So, oh man, I posted it to our social media, and it is the actual allegations by Katie Johnson.
Is that
Uh,
the 60-year-old that like Epstein was mad that Trump took her virginity?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
I don't know names,
Katie.
but I know the story.
So this like recently surfaced. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure this is not the first time that this has been made public, but it's the first time that people are paying attention to it. But she was
I've
so
known this since his first election.
yeah, this is not news.
Yeah.
This isn't like, oh, someone finally released this, and had this been released before November, he wouldn't have been elected. No, sorry, our country is disgusting and we still elected him. But it's not something that I knew about. I think she was Jane Doe for a long time, which
Mhm.
people don't take the Jane Does seriously,
Right.
unfortunately. But now so I guess in April 26th, 2016, right? So before his first time being elected,
Mhm.
Katie Johnson filed a federal lawsuit in California alleging that she was raped by Donald Trump at a party hosted by Epstein in 1994. I think at the time she was 12 years old. And if you read it, which it's very accessible online, you could read the 4-page allegation and trigger warning, if you do decide to read it, because it's not easy to read. It reminded me kind of Sold by Patricia McCormick. And it was, it's a tough thing to read because she's 12. It
Mhm.
described 4 separate encounters and painted a vivid picture of a world where wealthy men use teenage girls like disposable toys. The most explosive claim was that Trump violently raped her, then threatened to have her and her family killed if she spoke. And then it goes on to say how Epstein reacted when he found out that Trump was the one that got there first, I guess, and then how he freaked out. And it's just an awful, awful thing to read. But what is even more awful is that it existed for the public to read before he was elected the first time. So, but then like, do you know any more about that? Because I was just quoting an article from carlismyuncle.com. That's an interesting
Right.
place. But it says the girl who vanished. So like, where is she now? You know?
Yeah. So I knew about that story when it was Jane Doe. And I remember talking about it back then. And of course, people were like, oh, that's fake. Why is everybody coming up with this, allegations now? Of course,
Mhm.
believe women. And I'm like, it's not just one woman. It's
Exactly.
okay. And then you have him saying that he likes Epstein and that he also likes young women. I think he calls them girls, young girls.
Hmm.
We both like young girls, or he's
Hmm.
always hanging around young girls, and we like that. Something to that extent.
Yeah, he's said that before. Yeah.
Ah, like he's admitting to it.
Okay.
He's
So
like,
here, she
okay,
doesn't have a Wikipedia page. I had to get off the Carl is my uncle website. Just I wanted to make sure I was reading the right information, which I was. But apparently Katie Johnson is a pseudonym.
okay,
So it's more than Dick Jane Doe, but it's not her real name. And she might just be protecting herself.
yeah.
And
Can you imagine? Like she's talking about the most powerful man
mhm,
in this country, and we see how he responds to people who speak out against him.
mhm.
Yeah.
So according to the Wikipedia page, it was dismissed in April, or sorry, of May of 2016, a month after it was filed. Then it was refiled in September. And on November 2nd, Jane Doe or Katie Johnson, whichever name, was scheduled to appear at a press conference before abruptly canceling because she had received multiple threats. She wrote a formal declaration that said, I loudly pleaded with Defendant Trump to stop, but he did not. Defendant Trump responded to my pleas by violently striking me in the face with his open hand. Oh, yeah, this was in her declaration, which I read. Um, and that basically it says that he would kill her, her family, if she ever spoke out. So then 2 days later, the lawsuit was withdrawn by Katie Johnson.
Mm.
So, hmm.
But I mean, these rumors are not new. Like this has been said before. He's had several allegations, and I do believe it happened.
Yeah, me too. Okay, moving on to the next thing. We are actually going to talk about The Hunger Games, book 2. So I know we didn't mention that at the beginning of this episode, but the title will be The Hunger Games book 2. So people
Right.
will know that eventually we'll get there. Um, so book 2 is all about the quarter quell. Do you remember that?
Quarter quell. No. I
Okay,
mean,
I'll just tell you about it.
bring it up, I'll know what you're talking about, but
Yeah.
then
So book 1 was the Hunger Games, where Katniss and Peeta survive because they eat they threaten to eat the poisonous berries, which is seen as an act of rebellion by President Snow, who we are going to refer or compare to Netanyahu and Trump for the remainder of this episode. Sort of like tie it all together
right.
so that we can say our episodes actually, you know, make sense. So how
There's a
they
reason
do this.
we bring things up.
Yes, everything's connected. We always say this. But anyway, the quarter quell is basically a thing that the government of Panem,
Yeah.
which, is an authoritarian government run by a dictator named President Snow, that they do every 20 years to sort of remind the people in districts 1 through 12 that they're still in charge and that they still control them. So every 20 years they like mix it up and they make it even worse than it already is. So for this quarter quell, because President Snow is already determined that Katniss Everdeen is a threat to his regime,
Right.
he's like, I'm sending her back. So I'm gonna, even though like you win the Hunger Games, you're not supposed to go back. Like you are a victor, you live in Victor's Village,
Right.
which are these like big fancy houses in your district. You're never poor, you have all this money. So it sort of like communicates to the rest of the people in this dystopian society that like, oh, the Hunger Games is something that, there's a positive. Like if I
Right.
win, then I can be like this victor. It's like winning the lottery.
Right.
Only you
You don't
didn't have to
the
kill a
blood
bunch of people to win the
afterwards.
lottery. Yeah.
Right. Or possibly die to win it or not
Yes,
win it.
exactly. Exactly. So the quarter quell is basically President Snow's way of sending her back into the Hunger Games. So he's like, we're going to send two victors from each district, right? Some districts have like 20 victors, but District 12 only has 3 victors: Peeta, Katniss, and Haymitch. Okay.
Right.
And so of course, Katniss has to go because it has to be one girl and one boy. So Katniss has to go. And so, of course, PETA is like, well, I have to go, even though it was Haymitch's name that was called, because there's a 50-50 chance. And Haymitch's name got picked. And PETA's like, I volunteer as tribute because I'm madly in love with Katniss, which is
Right.
one of the best stories ever. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Are you more of like a Bella and Edward lady?
Oh, did you see my story? I am definitely a Bella and Edward.
Listen, I am team Katniss, PETA all the way. I think I would put Buffy and Angel above Katniss and PETA,
Ooh,
but Bella and Edward are definitely below Katniss and PETA.
other guy in Buffy. Not
Spike?
Angel. Yes.
Yeah, I guess, listen, that relationship is complicated,
Yeah.
but it is,
The
it's
bad
there.
boys.
I'm not Team Spike, I'm Team Angel. So
I mean, I'm Team Angel for my. No, I think make me a sandwich.
I
I'll
know, right? Can I have both?
take Angel.
I just
I'm
want to be Buffy and have both of them.
This is why I'm a why choose girl. I love why choose stories because why
Yeah,
pick? Have both.
exactly. Yeah. Anyway, I do love the PETA and Katniss love story.
Yeah.
So anyway, the quarter quell, they all go in, and so that's where we meet like other victors, like Johanna, Finnick, who's like the hot guy from the Ocean District, where he's like, I picture him as like Poseidon. He's got like a trident and he's like super ripped and he can
Yeah.
swim really well. I don't know. But long story short, they all kind of go into this Hunger Games, with the exception of like a few bad ones from like District 2, like the girl with the sharpened teeth. I
Yes,
forgot.
yes, yes.
Yeah. But anyway, a group of them are like, we're gonna do everything we can to keep PETA alive, right? And throughout the whole book, you're like, why are they trying to keep PETA alive? And you find out, spoilers, just don't listen to this part of the episode if you have not read book 2. All the
Or
spoilers. But I love this story, and I'll finish it up real quick. But basically, they're keeping PETA alive because they know if PETA dies, Katniss will be worthless.
that's messed up.
Right. Yeah, because they're like,
I
okay,
never thought that. It's
because
true.
Katniss is the Mockingjay. She
Yeah.
is the symbol of the rebellion. And without her, there will be no rebellion. And so
But
they
love
all
is what makes the capital like love them, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yes.
Okay.
And without PETA, there is no Katniss. And they see this and they're like, so Finnick and Johanna and this old lady named Mags, who I love, they all work together. Oh, and then Nuts and Bolts. Do you remember Nuts and Bolts?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Okay. Yes.
So they're like two really smart victors. They won on
Yeah.
their smarts. One, and they call them
They're the ones that figure out
the
the way
clock.
the clock.
Yeah, tick tock, tick tock. Because she's called Nuts because she's nuts, but she's smart. And he's called Volts because he's really good
Crazy.
with electricity.
Yeah.
What?
Everyone thinks they're crazy, like that, but they don't realize that they're actually really smart.
You
They're
can be
just,
crazy and smart.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Two
A
things.
lot of people are.
Yep. So yeah, Volts is he like figures out the electricity part of it, and at the end they end up achieving their job, which is to keep them both alive, to the point where Katniss can shoot one of her arrows up at the simulated ceiling, um, and have it blow up because it's connected to this wire, which is connected to the lightning strike, which the game maker, Plutarch Heavensby, rigged on purpose because he is in on it and he's part of the rebellion, even though like everyone thinks he's bad, and President Snow doesn't even know that he's double crossing President Snow. And so Plutarch Heavensby like designed this game to have this lightning strike go off every certain hour. And so Katniss like last minute decides to just like blow the whole fucking thing up.
Right.
And that allows District 13, which we thought was dead this whole time, to come in with their hovercraft and rescue whoever they can, which happens to be Katniss, Finnick, Beatty, who's Volts. His name is Beatty, but he's also Volts. And then who else do they rescue? I think that's it. Just those 3 are rescued out of all 24.
Oh no, because they don't get PETA.
Yeah, they don't get PETA.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so the Capitol gets PETA. right? And so that's what book 3 is about.
Yes.
Yeah. And so that's how it ends, is Katniss waking up to Gale in District 13, and Gale telling her that District 12 has been destroyed and that the capital has PETA. I think I just did that really quickly, and I think I did a pretty good job. But
Yes.
we're really, the meat of this is going to be comparing President Snow to Netanyahu and Trump. So,
Right. Yep. Because I mean, the parallels are there for sure.
so yeah, I mean, I have a whole list, but if you want to jump in and tell me what you think about it, then feel free. Or I
I mean,
can,
okay, so I haven't read the book recently and I haven't watched the movie recently. I did just watch President Snow's origin story.
don't tell me anything about that because I don't know anything about that.
And I have the book too, but I haven't read it yet.
Oh, is that the one that came out in March?
Yes. And the movie I think came out last year or the year before, I don't remember. Um, but the movie was good. I think the book will be better.
Hold on, how does a movie come out before a book?
I don't know.
Hold on. President Snow's movie came out
Hour.
before the book?
I just got the book. It was a release, so
Yeah, because the book was released this March. So did someone like make a movie and then Suzanne Collins went and wrote the book? Someone listening, please answer. It's not a pressing question. We can move on. We don't know. That's okay. We don't have to know everything. So going back to how President Snow is related to or comparison to Netanyahu and Trump.
I mean, he's just cruel.
Yeah.
I mean, he's destroying people because he wants to keep power, and we see what he's done with Gaza.
Mhm.
Um, I keep thinking also of Squid Games when I think of
Mhm.
you see people trying to go to get food, and they're literally it reminds me, and I know that sounds weird and morbid for me to say that, but it reminds me of the red light game because they're like creeping along, and they
Mhm.
have soldiers shooting at them, and all they're
Ooh,
trying to do is food. Have you seen
yeah.
those videos?
No.
It's like you're watching it and you're like, this can't be real life.
Is it though?
It is.
Red light videos? Is this in Gaza?
Red light videos. They're not actually yelling out red light videos, but I was just watching Squid Games
Oh.
just because they're like trying to move stealthily along,
Mm-hmm.
not make too much movement to so that they won't shoot at them.
Mm.
But it's literally kind of it reminds me of that scene where they start shooting people and people start freaking out and running.
Mm.
It's
In the Squid Games.
in the Squid Games.
Yeah, it's like
Are actually killing people who are just trying to get food.
the
Children.
difference, right? The difference between childhood and adulthood in some cases. In Gaza, there's no difference because you're a child living this, right? And in LA and in many parts of our country where children are being ripped from their homes, whether they're foster homes or not, or they're seeing their families ripped apart, right, by ICE because they're brown. Um, there is no distinction there. But in privileged households, such as my own, the difference between childhood and adulthood is seeing all of this on TV in your book, like Hunger Games and the Squid Games. Oh, that's just TV, right? But when you become an adult, you realize that the real life is worse
Mm-hmm.
in the Hunger Games. And my daughter she said, well, at least this isn't real life when she was watching the Hunger Games. And I didn't know what to say.
Yeah. Yeah, because she's gonna realize it soon that yeah,
Mhm.
that
I
I
didn't
mean,
have to I didn't have to say anything. I'm not gonna cry. I've cried so many times today. It's okay because I just thought of a funny moment. So I reeled it in, but not super funny, but sort of like I didn't have to say it because when we were watching the Japanese internment camp episode of Babysitters Club this morning, my son proceeded to explain it all to the whole house. He was
right.
like, this and this and this and this, and it's happening. And he went from one rock to another and was just like, and just so you know, World War III is happening and it's way worse than anything you can imagine right now. And I was like, what? Asher, like everything that he was saying, I was like, well, I can't really argue with you on that. And like, he's figuring it out, you
Right.
know?
Right. Because they're like we said, they have phones now, they have
Mhm.
access to the internet, they see what's going on too. Um, yeah. I mean, what happens is TV makes it more like glamorized, I guess. but real life is just a lot harsher. And
I'm
it's, but I'm an adult and I still also had, rose-colored glasses on thinking, yeah, it's not that bad. And now I'm like, shit, it really is that bad.
I,
Like,
I'm going to use that as an example because you brought up a really good point, and you're right. It is human nature to put on your rose-colored glasses. Um, but I wanted to bring up a girl, which I gotta find her in my notes now, but she is an example of what like how you said it's glamorized because she was killed by the Israeli government at just the young age of 12 years old. And her name was Yakin Hamad. And, she was a symbol of resistance, similar to Katniss Everdeen. She was a humanitarian beacon who showed the world beauty, courage, and generosity in Gaza amidst bombing. This was this year. She died. She was murdered by the Israeli government in May of 2025. She used social media to show, joy and distribute aid in a place of suffering. She delivered things like food, toys, and essentials. She was 11 years old. Sorry, did I say 12?
yeah.
She was 11 years old. And, I think from what I've read, and we're not totally sure, but I think she was targeted by the Israeli government, by Netanyahu, just like President Snow is targeting Katniss. But the difference between, real life and books and movies is Katniss isn't going to get killed by President Snow because she's the hero, the heroine of the book. Her heroine? I don't like saying heroine because it's like a drug,
I
but I
know,
think that's how you
but it is how you say
I
it.
don't want
Yeah.
to sound stupid saying heroine. Okay, so she's the heroine of the book, and she's not going to get murdered by President Snow, but Yakin Hamad did get murdered. So
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Like glamorized life, in books, there's a happy ending. In real life, we're realizing there's not a happy ending. Like real life, people are dying and the heroine is gonna get killed, you know.
because Yakin was spreading hope. And a quote in Catching Fire, the second book of the Hunger Games, by President Snow is hope. It's the only thing stronger than fear. So while these authoritarian governments are doing their best to spread fear among the people, they're not only spreading fear in the form of propaganda, but they're killing, literally murdering hope, even
Yep.
if it means it's the face of an 11-year-old little girl.
It's how do you sleep at night doing that?
I
They've
don't
killed
know.
so many children. So many.
Mm-hmm. Did you see though that one of the 5-star stories, which I think we're gonna just start using now,
That's
I
like
have a few, is the Israeli students, so students who live in Israel,
yeah.
went on video on social media and literally set fire, real fire, to their draft papers, which will get them put in jail.
Wow.
But yeah, and one of them was a trans student. Like, can you that like you already have a target on your back.
Right.
The bravery on that person, you know. And
Yeah.
we need more people like that. We need more examples of that.
Book too, because what is that popular if I burn, we all burn
Yeah.
and the fire is catching?
So you
Like,
do remember.
oh yeah, yeah, because I use that for one of my signs too when I went to protest.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Because I do
Yeah.
remember that, yeah, from the first book and from the
That's
movie.
in book 3.
Is it?
Yeah, because I just started book 3. And so in book 3,
Okay.
that's when she comes up with so District 3 is coming up with their own propaganda as well.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're book 3 is all about them, getting all the districts to rebel. So I
Yeah,
feel like in America right now, we're still in book 2.
right.
Like we haven't gotten to book 3 yet. I don't know. Maybe that's just me being pessimistic, but
Yeah, well, you do. Well, look, we have Marjorie Taylor Greene switching sides.
hell
Oh,
has frozen over.
things are happening. And I think the silence is very loud right now from his supporters.
Mhm.
And I think it's not so much, I think, and this is what I want to believe, that they realize that he's a liar finally. Like the Epstein files might be the tipping point,
Hmm.
but they still can't vocalize it. They rather stay silent and not say anything than to speak out against him. Only
Hmm.
because it's like embarrassing. You know,
Hmm.
I supported this guy so hard and now I have to eat my words.
Exactly. Yeah. Um, because most MAGA people don't want to admit when they're wrong. I mean, it's hard for anyone to admit when they're wrong, but can you imagine like someone who's been in the MAGA cult? And there have been people that have, like the people on January 6th that like were incarcerated and then pardoned. There are
Right.
at least two people that are like, no, no, I don't want the pardon.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that takes some big balls
Yep.
to
And you know
do
what
that.
I said is that they got counseling, they got mental health um,
Hmm.
counseling, and they got clean. A lot of them were alcoholics. And now that they're, sober and have had mental health counseling, they realize they were conned.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
sad. It's sad.
Yeah. But I mean, it's sad, but it's also good that people are waking up.
Yeah. But then I have people look at my job the other day. There was a customer and he said, not to me, and I had to bite my tongue because I'm at work,
Hmm.
to another customer. He was like, well, something along the lines of people now who don't speak English here are going to find themselves in the Everglades.
Oh my
And I was
God.
like, when is just not speaking English
A crime?
a crime?
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like so baffled that he said that out loud and
I
was so,
know it is so baffling how much hate there is, and when you see it firsthand, you're sort of like, I mean, I knew that people like this existed, but like I'm still surprised that you can say that to someone.
oh yeah, they feel very like comfortable saying it now. And
Yeah.
it's crazy because I've never heard people I've seen people talk shit online because they're hiding behind their computer and their
Mhm. But to
keyboard.
your face, yeah, they're not scared anymore because of who is in power.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, did he just say that out loud?
Yeah, I'm sorry that you had to deal with that. I don't know
I
what I
mean,
would have done. I mean, I yelled at a kid in a Paw Patrol backpack. Like,
listen, if I was out in the streets and
oh
heard
yeah,
that,
I know, yeah.
I would have said something. But I'm at work, and
I
so
know. It sucks that
like
but
you're
still, it sucks.
it because there goes my job.
Right. which
Unfortunately,
which we need in this booming, wonderful economy
right?
that Trump has built. What are you talking about, Jennifer? You can quit that job and go find another one because there's so many jobs out there.
So many jobs.
You could just become an ICE agent. I hear they're paying $100,000 a year plus a $45,000 signing bonus.
But did you hear morale is really low right now
Yeah, but
because
it's a
they're being
$100,000.
attacked. Poor babies.
Because of what?
They're being
Oh,
attacked, and the morale is really low, so people are
oh,
quitting.
yeah, for them. And they
For them,
can't even show their faces. Fucking idiot.
right?
Oh my God.
So we're supposed to feel bad for them. I don't.
And teachers are getting paid just less than half of what these ICE agents are making with no experience of any kind other than being an asshole. The only experience you need is to be a man and be a dick, right?
Yeah,
And it just goes to show that like it was never about money. Like we've never been low on money to build a public education in the way that other countries have, because we are at the bottom when it comes to public education in
right,
our country. And it's never been about not having the money. It's been about prioritizing the money. And we always knew that. But it's become crystal clear now
right.
where the priorities of the American government lie. And it is 1,000% not and never has been in public education.
No, no. I mean, they're bragging right now about cutting funding to the NPR and public broadcasting. They're people are so dumb. They're like celebrating this, and I'm like, in a couple of months, your Medicaid is going to be gone.
Mm-hmm.
Your child who is autistic is going to get kicked out of school.
Mm-hmm.
There won't be
Or
teachers.
yeah, and even if they're not kicked out of school, anybody who qualifies for, the Disability of Education Act, or it falls under that umbrella, right?
Right.
Will still have a place in public school, but there's no oversight now, so that they will most definitely slip through the cracks and will not get the resources or the support that they need.
Right.
And it will lead to maybe not getting kicked out of school, but like, being forced to leave school because they're not getting what they need.
Right. And I do think it will lead to them getting kicked out eventually.
Well,
I
yeah,
think that's the goal down the line, but not right
right.
away.
That's the point. Yeah, I
They're going
guess.
to start seeing those things and then they're going to start complaining about it. And somehow it's going to be Biden's fault because, they
Mm-hmm.
never
Or
put
Obama's.
responsibility where it goes.
Hmm.
Um, and
Yeah.
I'll say I told you so, and they'll be like, "No, you didn't."
Mm.
I don't know, but yeah, I guess that we're all gonna have to learn the lesson the hard way.
Yeah, we gotta, I mean, I've said this before, we have to hit rock bottom. And
Yeah.
it every day feels like it could be rock bottom, but apparently it's not. So, I feel like the education system has hit rock bottom, but apparently that we can go deeper. So we're just challenging ourselves each day to see how much deeper we can go, which is a bummer. But oh, I was gonna relate this back to something that I recently learned. Speaking of public education, um, and comparing it to the Hunger Games, like there's no public education in many of these districts. Like
Right.
you couldn't just become a doctor, which is something that comes up in book 3 with Prim, the younger sister, and her medical knowledge, right, and being like a healer, right?
Right.
Because of this rebellion, now she's got more opportunities to become a doctor, right? So all of this is like related uh, to the real world. But what I was going to tell you is that all the vouchers, the $8,000 voucher that you could apply, anyone could apply for. I know so many people that were like, yeah, it's really easy. I got $8,000 from the government, and now I'm going to put it towards this Catholic school, or I'm going to put it towards this Christian community school,
Right.
or I'm just going to pocket it and homeschool my kid, right? So how I'm asking you to guess a number. How many families in Flagler County, and I know this, I have it on good authority, that
Uh-huh.
this is from someone I know who, knows people in the district, okay?
Right.
Um, that this is a true statement, okay? How many families do you think took that $8,000, put it in their fucking pockets, and then sent their kids to Flagler schools? How many families do you think did that in the 2024-2025 school year?
Ooh. Ooh. What's our population?
I know. I asked Blake and he said 5, which was very
Oh,
low. And
no,
then
no,
I
I'm
asked
2,000.
no, and then I asked Tamra, who said 1,000, and that was way too high.
Okay, so let's go with 400.
179.
Wow.
So Blake was like 5, maybe, because $8,000 is a lot, but
How are they getting away with that?
so the state, there's no oversight. So that's what we talk about when money gets taken away, the biggest thing that gets impacted is oversight. Like no one is being held accountable for things. Like no one's like double checking their work and making sure that like people are doing what they say they're going to be doing. So basically there was no oversight last year, and no one checked up on these people. They didn't make sure that
Hmm.
they just
They
didn't
should
spend the
quit.
money and then put their kids in fucking
Yeah.
public school. And so they have since fixed the issue, according to my source.
Damn it.
And now you can't do that anymore, right? Which you wouldn't want to do because that would hurt Flagler schools. But
I'm
um,
joking.
it doesn't really hurt the government. It doesn't hurt Florida government. It hurts the local schools. But
Yeah.
so now you can't do that anymore. But the state was like, yeah, we fucked up. Um, but if you want that money to the school districts, because they're owed this money, right? If you want that money, you're gonna have to go get it yourself. So they're not even helping them get the money back because they're gonna have to go after these families, like the Millers.
Or
Like,
they
hey,
have to
Mr. Miller.
sue parents.
Yeah, they're gonna have to send collection agencies to Mr. Miller's house and say, "Hey, Mr. Miller, what'd you do with that $8,000 after you sent little Tommy to flag their schools?" And long story short, someone somewhere is going to be the person that does that for the entire state. Hopefully, I mean, at least they're gonna try so that school districts can get their money back.
And I can almost guarantee these are not all of them, but at least half of those families are well off.
Oh yeah, yeah. The ones that I know, that don't need it, because I know some that do need, they have like kids on the spectrum or with disabilities that are like, I need my kid to be educated at home, so I'm going to pay for a professional tutor to come, and they're going to sit at my house and they're going to teach my kid math, and that $8,000 is going to go towards that. I know, maybe one person in that scenario, but the other ones, it's like, you don't need this at
Mm-mm.
all. Like, you're just afraid of the bus, which we talked about earlier. You're afraid of, your kid having to make a decision in the bathroom of what should I vape or not, right? Which, newsflash, that happens at Catholic schools too.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Listen,
you're,
growing up, we used to get shit on for public school, because we had drug dealers.
mm,
Who are they dealing to?
yeah, no, they're
They
dealing to the kids at the private schools.
heroin and all that.
Hmm.
The Catholic school kids, because they
Yeah,
had money.
yeah.
Those kids were doing all the hard drugs. We
I
were
don't know.
just,
Yeah.
which one's worse? I don't know.
I mean, kids are kids. It doesn't matter what school you put them in, they're still gonna be kids. Like, anyway, that was my education rant. So,
Yeah, I'm not, what? I'm not shocked that they took advantage of it though. I'm,
oh, it's nothing
listen,
is
I know
shocking.
that it affected schools negatively, but I'm glad it happened
Hmm.
because again, they don't learn. And a lot of people in our school board were very happily advocating
Yeah.
for this. So
And now they're the ones that are going to have to deal with the budget. Like, oh, we're how many millions of dollars short? How
yeah,
are we going to operate this year? I don't know.
but
I'm
they
just
didn't
glad I didn't win.
right. Yeah, but they don't care. The
Mhm.
whole we give a shit about kids was bullshit.
Yeah, so speaking of that, let's shift a little bit, but that is a good segue into the hypocrisy of like Moms for Liberty and the Christian MAGAs. Because I've got two examples, which didn't take too long at all for me to find. Like, there are
Right.
dozens, unfortunately, of examples out there of MAGA churches and Moms for Liberty book banning advocates who are now pleading guilty to child sex crimes. One of them is
Oh,
a deacon at a MAGA church, not just a regular church. It's like a MAGA church, and his name is Jerry Heflin, and he was found guilty of child sex crimes like 2 months ago. And Ryan Utterback, who is an anti-LGBTQ book ban advocate, and was known for calling people like us groomers, right? He actually just recently pled guilty to child molestation.
yeah.
So,
I'm telling you, their accusations are always
admissions of guilt.
admission. Yep.
Mhm.
Hmm.
You have said that before.
Yeah.
Why don't we
It's
listen? Oh, shoot, what did I just do? Frick. There we go. I got it back. Okay. Um, so yeah, going back to Snow and Netanyahu and Trump, one thing I wanted to talk about specifically was the burning of 500 tons of food. Is that it?
yes. That is
Because, oh, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Because remember in the books where they're like, when they're in Pan Am, the capital, and like how much food is available and how they like drink this special purple stuff so that they can like vomit it up and then go back and have more food because that's how much food is available.
yeah.
That like was so American.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I that was definitely, I think, a dig
Hmm.
at us.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Not to say that there isn't hunger in America, because there most definitely is. And now, without SNAP assistance and other things being cut in the quote big beautiful bill, there's going to be more of that,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
But it's
But
speaking on people with money and excess wealth
hmm.
overindulging while people are going hungry.
Hmm. So to spell it out, and this is going to be the main comparison that we use because we are probably way over time, but in the books, President Snow controls food supply in districts and he allows starvation as punishment. And this is very apparent in District 12, where Katniss describes in book one in detail how starvation was like a common form of death in District 12, but they didn't list that as like the cause of death on their death certificate. They would list something else like pneumonia or something. But really it was starvation.
Right.
Um, so using food as a tool of political dominance, and instead as a basic, which it should be a basic right.
Right.
And Netanyahu has routinely and continues to block humanitarian aid from entering Gaza, including baby formula, food, and water. And I think I just read recently, like 6 days ago, I don't know, dozens, probably more people died trying to get to one of the first aid trucks that was able to get through.
Yeah.
And so finally, after months of trying to get through, one finally gets there, and then people die trying to get to it.
Yeah. And they're shooting at them. They're literally playing with these people's lives. I
Mhm.
saw a video of American mercenaries that are over there aiding Israel, and they're literally joking and laughing about getting one, you know?
It's terrible. And it goes back to the whole dehumanization of an entire group, that I always bring up by, one of the pillars of caste by Isabel Wilkerson, that the Israeli government, and not every Israeli, but for a whole, the country of Israel has grouped Palestinians as subhuman, which is how they are able to commit these horrendous acts against humanity.
Right. And we're seeing it now here done with brown people, Hispanic
Hmm.
people. Um, I think people really need to go and look at videos. And not, this was a news source video that I saw of a baby, right? And they're showing the baby that was born healthy, chubby faced, the way newborns are. Um, and I think the baby was 3 months and it was lifeless at this point. But because they cannot get formula to Gaza, the baby starved to death.
And don't even say the mother should have breastfed, because you can't breastfeed if you don't have food.
No, and I think the baby had like needed a special formula, but
Hmm.
this was at the hospital. Like several babies have passed away. And they showed the video. They showed the progression of the child's body.
Yeah, you
I
know
was like,
what?
it's hard to see. It was like hard. And I showed
Hmm.
my husband, I was like, I need you to look at this, right? Because I
Hmm.
think sometimes he knows bad things are happening, but he doesn't want to see it. And I was like,
Same with
I
mine.
want I want you to watch this because you need to see, and he he was like shuddering and he was like trying to look away
Hmm.
because it's hard to watch. But
And
I
that's
think we need to see it.
and
We
that's
need,
why I share stuff like that.
yeah,
But I'm hesitant to share stuff like that at the same time, but I shouldn't be,
yeah,
because you're right. You're absolutely right. And this is supposed to be an episode. It's not really about book two of the Hunger Games. It's about everything. And we're just sort of throwing it in there. But in book three, Beatty, which whatever. I'm going to tell you anyway. It's not book two, but Beatty, he actually does what you just described. He takes video and he hacks it into Panem's, capital, the capital of Panem, so that everyone in Panem can see the footage of the hospital, of the people in the hospital before Panem bombed the hospital and killed everyone in the hospital. And so what we need are those anonymous hackers that show up every few months to say some bullshit. We need them to take this footage and like hack Fox News and
yes,
show the videos on Fox News and CBS and like all these primetime networks that are not doing it because they're afraid of X, Y, and Z.
yeah, yeah. You know who else turned now that you say Fox News?
Mm,
You know Candace Owens?
yeah.
Suddenly she's like Epstein was like the tipping point, I think, for her, right?
No,
Because now she's like blasting Trump.
no way.
Yeah, yeah, big
Wow.
time.
Yeah.
And
I
I thought it
mean,
was funny. She said something like, she mentioned other like supporters of Trump, uh, Charlie Kirk, I think is his name or something, and like other people. and was saying, well, you guys are getting paid, to keep supporting him. And I was like, oh, so maybe your check ran out because I'm not gonna, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It could like we can give her the benefit of the doubt and say that she finally couldn't do it anymore. But you're also right. That could have
To
been
me,
it.
that was like her saying, yeah, he's paying us to say these things.
Mm-mm.
And
Because can't even imagine. No
either
monetary.
your conscience finally got to you and you're like, okay, this is too much, or the checks ran out, one or the
Mhm.
other.
One or
Because
the other. Yeah. And we're gonna hopefully, like that's gonna happen. But you know what I was thinking? You know how like people are comparing this to the Holocaust and then America went in and, saved everyone from Hitler, right? But now like the tables have turned and we are helping a country commit genocide on another country, and we're not going in and we're not saving Palestine from Netanyahu,
right,
but we also didn't go in and save the Sudanese children, or the Darfurian children. I think
right,
that's whatever, like, and we didn't do that because there's no benefit for us. There was a benefit for us to save Jewish people from Hitler. Um,
right.
I'm not a historian. I don't know exactly what it was, but this isn't the first time that we've turned our backs on people, or
Oh
and not
yeah,
even turned our backs, but aided and abetted in genocide.
right. No, that's our problem. The US sticks their nose in a lot of places. Like a lot
But
of the
not where
reason,
they should.
no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
A lot of the reason there are so many Central and South American people coming into this country illegally
Is
is because of shit that the US has done to aid
mhm.
those countries that has backfired.
Yep. And Fidel Castro is one of those examples that I briefly mentioned to you, and I know that is a complicated man to talk about, but he was like a liberal socialist in his early days, and then he turned out to be kind of, like a bad dictator, which
Right,
I'm not saying I like Fidel Castro, but I didn't know these things about him, and that, he was trying to help his country. I don't know enough about it. I'm going to read some books about it, but one book, not about Cuba and Fidel Castro, but about Guatemala, which I talked to you about briefly, is called Harsh Times by Mario Vargas Llosa. There's two L's, Llosa. I don't know if I'm saying that the correct way.
the L makes a Y sound.
So Llosa, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's the true story of Guatemala's political turmoil of the 1950s as only a master of fiction can tell it. Basically, it was a coup. It talks about, a coup that stemmed from America oppressing Guatemalan farmers,
Yeah.
is the
Mhm.
gist of it. So I would like to cover that eventually. Um, because these are the history lessons that you don't learn as an American. And it's embarrassing that I'm 38 years old and this is the first time that I'm realizing truly how fucked up of a nation we are.
Yeah, no, listen, and I'm from Guatemala, what my family is, and I didn't know this. You know,
I don't
I've
feel as bad.
I've started reading a few stories and this is why books are important because
Mhm.
even in like a story about modern day, when you're telling the story, they will add information like, oh yeah, my great grandparents, when this and this happened, and it's just a sprinkle of information, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that, and you learn something that you didn't know.
And there's so much to know. Like, how can you know everything? And like, you definitely should not beat yourself up. And I'm telling this to myself for not knowing everything. But you should beat yourself up for saying, oh, if you don't speak English, you're gonna go take a trip to the Everglades, and I'm not gonna read a single fucking book to educate myself
Right.
at all. That's when you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, and I don't know details, but I know that the US has been involved in a lot of complicated shit in other countries. That
Yeah.
is the reason why so many people are coming over to our country now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we create problems and then we're like, oh, fuck you guys for coming over here.
Mm-hmm.
But we created the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And Americans don't see that. They're just like, oh, look at all these people trying to invade our country, calling it an invasion. How is it an invasion if it's people from different countries coming in?
Mm-hmm.
It's not an organized plan to take over the US.
Mhm.
They're fleeing their countries for valid reasons that we
Yeah.
caused.
Yeah. And then we're not, we're deporting them to places like um I forgot what the name like frick, not Burma, but like countries in Africa that no one that they don't know,
What was it called? Oh my God.
or not even Africa. It could
Talk
be near.
about it in the other in the last episode that there's like a container of people, including
Yeah.
ISIS that are do baby. Oh my God, I can't think. It was
Yeah, yeah. It was in Africa. That was a different one. I forgot
oh,
too.
okay.
Yeah. But no, so that was I did not we didn't I don't know if there's been an update on that. I mean,
Yeah.
we can look into it, but then there's another a separate case where this man, he thankfully escaped and he is now hiding out in India and he doesn't have any papers. Can you imagine hiding in India and whenever you get a phone, you call your family in America where you've lived your whole life.
Right.
Like I'm safe, but I'll update you later. Like he doesn't know how to get back or get somewhere safe. Like he somehow got to India from this country that he was deported to, which I can't, the name is escaping me right now, but the point is he's not from that country, but
Right.
he somehow got deported there. And I mean, who knows how many cases like that
What
actually.
about the Jamaican? Well, he's not Jamaican. He's American.
Mm.
He was born in Germany, I think, to a, his father was serving in the military,
Oh, uh-huh.
and then he was deported because he was born in Germany. They're saying he's not a US citizen
Even though his father was a US
on
citizen
on a base,
yeah, you're still a US citizen if you were, even if you were, yeah, if you're born
Yeah.
on a military base because your family is in the military, you're a US citizen.
Right. And so he was never in Jamaica,
Hmm.
but because his parents are Jamaican, even though they were US citizens, I think when they had him, right? Obviously, because he was serving in the military. Well, I guess you don't
Right.
have to be a US citizen to serve in the military.
Either way, yeah.
But either way, he was, on a US base, which to me, as I understood it, always made you American. Like you were
Hmm.
on, it's considered US soil.
If you
Even,
can serve in the military, you are not in this country illegally,
and they deported him to Jamaica.
even though he's never been to Jamaica.
Never.
It's crazy.
So,
Yeah.
which, why not to Germany if that's where he's considered to have been born, right?
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense either. He shouldn't have been deported there either. But
Right.
like the logic, I,
No, there is no logic. The good news is the ACLU is fighting back hard, and there have been
yes,
several lawsuits that have been won that in which in which federal judges have said like you can't do this. Let's see if I can pull one of them up. I posted it to our Instagram story. Yep, here it is. So last night, a federal court temporarily blocked the federal government from racial profiling and denying access to counsel for individuals targeted by immigration enforcement in LA and surrounding counties. After thousands of unlawful arrests in Los Angeles, ACLU, SoCal, and our community partners held firm to defend immigrants' rights. So that's just one of many. Isn't no, that was it.
well, that's a good thing. But then we have other places. You were telling me about Arizona, where the
Mhm.
judges are sending letters telling people to self-deport.
Yeah, yeah. And
So,
in Arizona, speaking of Arizona, I think that's where she's from. The woman with cancer.
yeah, because I think that's how we got on that subject.
Oh, okay. I don't know where that her article went. I think I got rid of it. But she has cancer and she was coming back from Mexico and she was, even though she's a legal citizen,
A resident.
sorry,
Right.
she's a legal resident, she was deported and she's like, trying to get out, but they keep denying her case and she's like lost 55 pounds. She's probably going to die.
Right.
And
And then as a resident, that means you jump through all the hoops.
Mhm,
Literally, you have to be a resident for 10 years and then file for citizenship.
mhm,
But you're here legally. You
mhm.
don't get your residency without being here legally. Maybe 5 years. I could be wrong. I think it's 5 years. And then you can file petition to become a US citizen. Um,
But this is only happening to the Latinos.
right.
This is not happening to the people who came here from, France
Yeah.
or Ireland and became citizen, naturalized. Is that what you call it? Naturalized citizen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there are plenty of Latinos that did that, and they are being kidnapped and illegally deported or
Yeah.
detained in
It is happening.
concentration camps.
People who are coming from Canada, and we saw someone from Germany get like sent
Well,
back.
those are people that are traveling. Those are people that are like, oh, you're not allowed to travel here. I'm talking about people that are like living in the States and that have lived here since they were like 5, but they're white, so they're not in any danger.
Right. It is happening, but not on the scale that it's happening to brown people.
Right.
Brown people are the targets. And
Hmm.
people that aren't brown are getting caught up in the system because they're also being flagged, but they're not the target. That
But
I think,
I wonder how many cases, because I haven't seen any, and that doesn't mean that there aren't any, but I would be curious to see like a case where like a French person or sorry, so, someone who came here when they were like 5 and then became a citizen or a legal resident, right? And then were deported back to France. Like I don't,
yeah,
maybe I guess if they like, went on a cruise and then came back and had to show their papers, maybe then I guess. But what's happening now is you
that,
have
that
what?
guy that was coming back, he was visiting, I think he obviously here legally.
Mhm.
Um, he was visiting Germany, I think, or something, or he was going somewhere, or he's German descent,
But
and
okay.
had like a meme. No, wait, he was coming to visit, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Else
Yeah.
that boyfriend, he lives here.
Hmm. I don't know. We can look into it.
There's so many
But
stories that I can't keep track, but it
yeah,
is
it's too hard. Yeah.
at the same scale that it is happening to.
To brown people. But the point I was trying to make is like now brown or Latino actual citizens who've born in America, right? But they look Hispanic are being, and their actual citizens are being detained.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. Like we're being profiled at this point.
Yeah.
If you're Hispanic, we're gonna stop you and ask you where you're from.
And that's where the ACLU came in, and the federal judge says, yes, you can't racially profile people, but like that's just, I mean, they're not going to listen. They're not going to listen. We need
That's
more than just like judges saying that this is wrong. But
right.
anyway, to wrap things up, the parallels between Trump and President Snow, which we started to talk about this. I just want to make sure we finish the conversation about the destruction of the 500 tons of emergency food that has already been paid for, right? But instead of saying, hey, let's give this to any place that could use it, we're going to burn it,
Right.
incinerate it. We're going to incinerate 500 tons of food, which he has done before. He did it in 2020. He's doing it again.
And where are the Christian people
Yeah.
who feed the hungry? Where's that?
Hmm.
Wasn't that like in the Bible? Like
They're
isn't
too busy. They're too busy telling you not to worry about Jeffrey Epstein.
that's true?
Okay.
Yeah.
They can't worry about
They
500 tons of food
have,
being burned.
sorry.
What?
They have their hands full right now.
Yes. Think
Yeah.
about
Sorry.
their plates are so full. They must be so overwhelmed having to tell us that it's not a big deal and that we shouldn't care who's on Jeffrey Epstein's list. Because why would you want to bring up past trauma? That's literally what some Republicans are saying.
Yeah, that happened what in the 90s?
We don't want to rehash that shit.
That's over.
Yeah. Like why would you want to they're the same people that are saying why would you want to read books about sexual assault? Because, like it's just not something that brings you joy. So why should we have them? Right?
But also they call it porn, which would imply that it does bring you something.
Exactly. There's no logic. You can't make this shit
It's
up.
not porn. Let me
No,
clarify.
I get you.
Why are they calling it porn?
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense. There's no logical. You can't make sense of it. So there's no logic. Yeah, your birds agree. Birds
Yeah.
agree. Let's end with the 5-star story, the one that I
Okay.
kept forgetting, which I'm sure you've heard of. It's the two hot mayors from Baltimore and what's the other one? Oh yeah,
Tennessee. Tennessee.
Birmingham.
Alabama.
Yeah, Alabama,
Ooh,
Birmingham, Alabama, and Baltimore, Maryland. They have two very attractive mayors, and these guys are kicking ass. Have you heard of them
I did. You shared the story, I think, so I did see it.
in our text? So will I find it if I look through our text messages? So Baltimore finished the first half of 2025 with the fewest homicides ever recorded.
And it's
Um,
all because they did things like opened youth centers later, offered
mhm,
programs for kids, invested more money in schools,
mhm. Keep
fed
going.
children, like
Yeah. So
radical stuff here.
the one, right, exactly. The one in Birmingham, his name is Randall Woodfin. Um, you should definitely check out his Instagram. You will not be disappointed. Let's see. I'm trying to find. Yeah, it's exactly what you said. How did he do it? Well, he invested in the woke liberal socialist bullshit, such as, community programs for students, um, making sure kids have food, 3 meals a day, mental health, public transportation access so that people can get to where they need to go, stuff like that.
You posted it on your story. That might be where I saw it.
Oh, okay.
And I showed my husband that and I was like, look, isn't that crazy, right? It's almost like if you have people not hungry, you
Mm-hmm.
have people educated, you keep kids busy with fun, engaging things,
Mm-hmm.
they won't have a reason to commit crimes.
Yeah.
And then you're left, it's not going to end crime because crime will still happen.
Mm-hmm.
And you just have people who are just really bad because they have everything they need and still want to do bad things. But
Exactly.
not people who just were led into a bad life because they had a rough life.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the numbers there, they didn't lie. They went down.
Mm-hmm. And they're doing all of this without like overfunding the police department, which is important.
Okay.
Baltimore, yeah, Mayor Brandon Scott. Yeah, so things like appointing a director of LGBTQ affairs office. Like every major city needs something like that,
Right.
because these are real groups of people that have problems and need resources just like every group of people, right? And we can't pretend like they don't exist, which is the other fight, the other group of people that are attempting to be dehumanized, are people in the LGBTQ
Right.
community. And so Brandon Scott, mayor of Baltimore, is also doing things like um, making plans to curb city opioid overdoses. So he's got like a preliminary plan and like a strategic plan to actually focus resources on preventing addressing the opioid crisis.
Right. Which, that goes back to they try to say, the cartel in Mexico and then they're bringing in drugs. Why not cure people from their addiction problem?
Hmm.
And then there's no reason for the cartel to bring anything over.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
that's like, yeah,
we keep
that's,
customer base here
well, there's
alive.
that, and there's that whole theory of how crack became an epidemic. It was introduced to
Well, I
poor
don't think
Black
it's conspiracy
neighborhoods.
theory. I think it is actually, right?
Right.
Like
Well,
it happened.
I think like as a young white person growing up in a privileged community, like I was told by other, maybe ignorant or whatever people that it was a conspiracy theory. But because, the truth is never formally revealed in public education,
Right.
but you got to read the books about it you're right, it's not a conspiracy theory. There are books about it, which we should probably cover that.
Right.
That could be one of the things we cover, even though it's probably not technically banned, but like what school district is going to, in Florida anyway, or
Right.
Texas or Tennessee, is going to allow for that to be the summer reading, you know?
Right. Yeah, no, they're not going to allow that ever.
We'll add that to our list. But I think, The Wire, the HBO series The Wire, they address it, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah,
Do they? Okay. Because I
I
don't
think so.
do a lot of HBO either, but I mean, it's known. Like it was introduced to control neighborhoods.
Yeah. To oppress them, to keep, just like the book Blackbirds in the Sky, the
Right.
Tulsa Tulsa Race Massacre, which we're going to cover soon.
Which that book addresses, so far it's addressed very little about the Tulsa. I'm only about 40% of the way through.
Mhm.
And talks more about just history. It's a very interesting book so far.
It would be a great read for a social studies class,
Yeah.
especially in Tulsa or
Yeah.
Oklahoma. Yeah.
It
But
is.
I wanted to mention I am going to link a bunch of GoFundMe's. Not that, you can just go to GoFundMe and type in ICE and just take your pick. There are so many. There are a couple where, like, Tucson, for example, has a GoFundMe that goes just towards like bond, like the bond that they have to pay to get out. Even if they're even given that option, right? And then there's individual cases where it's like the family needs to pay for a lawyer. So I'll link that in the show notes, but I think we should probably wrap it up.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we've gone over.
Yeah. So on that note, don't ban books.
Ban bigots. This episode has been engineered and mixed by your hosts, Jennifer and Courtney.
You can listen to the Milf for Books podcast on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, or literally any podcast app you want.
Check out our Milf for Books YouTube page. That's MILF, the number 4, books. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Follow the show on Instagram, Threads, Facebook, and Blue Sky at MILF for Books. Again, that's MILF, the number 4, books. But follow us on TikTok at Moms Into Literary Freedom.